Alright guys, so I just watched Supergirl yesterday, and I figured since I don't have anything else to talk about this weekend, I decided we're gonna do this channel's first ever movie review. And when we're done, let me know at the ending if you want more movie reviews on this channel. The next review I'll do will probably be Spider-Man 4, if you want me to do that. So for this review, I will give my final rating for Supergirl at the end of the video, and this is also coming from someone who has not read the comic book it's based off of, so I might be a little softer on this than someone who maybe has read the comic. But let's start with the positives of this movie. Okay, so I went into this film very cautiously because all the reviews were describing this as a film that's, in my opinion, was like Black Adam level good. Like, it was mid, which made me very nervous, but thank goodness I did not think it was mid at all. For positives, the performances were spectacular. Milly Alcock is Supergirl. She was so good and pretty funny at parts, actually. I think the two standouts were easily David Corenswet as Superman and, of course, Jason Momoa as Lobo. Genuinely the most perfect casting, like nobody else could play Lobo. And I genuinely want to see more of him somewhere down the line, and I feel like we will see more of Lobo down the line, somehow, some way. Like, I feel like why would you not have, like, him appear again in the DCU? But this might be a hot take, honestly. I actually had more fun with the Superman scenes. Every time David Corenswet was on screen, I had the biggest smile. He literally is Superman. The Krypton scenes were also really well done with Supergirl and her parents. This film genuinely made me feel so bad for Kara in the end. I also thought that when Kara put on her suit, it felt like she finally understood why she wears the suit, which I loved as well. I think the action in the final battle was also really well put together. There was even a part, at least I think there was a part, where Supergirl was doing that trend, you know, where the hero's flying and it looks like they're stretched out. I can't say for sure if they actually had that, but if so, she literally... This is like the best film that's done it so far, if so. Like, genuinely, like, she did not look silly at all. It actually looked amazing, and I was just like, yeah, this is definitely, like, out of everyone that's had that camera trend thing, Supergirl has it the best. And so, yeah, those are all the positives of the movie, and keep in mind, those are like some good positives. Like, the positives of this movie are like really high positives, like, they're really good. But now we can talk about some things I'm not as impressed with. People are right, this film does feel rushed at some parts, honestly similar to Supergirl 1984, where in the beginning, everything is just set up within like the first 10 to 15 minutes, a little too quickly. Now, I should say though, this film is nowhere near as bad as Supergirl 1984. Just someone saying, yes, Supergirl is better than Supergirl 1984, that's an understatement. Supergirl 1984 is like, there's no words can describe how much better this film is to 84. So, yeah. But anyway, the film did rush things at points, and some things did feel a little convenient at some times. I also agree that they were definitely holding Kara back. I genuinely was wondering at parts, like, why she wasn't using her powers. Like, I was like in my, like, you know, like when watching the movie in my head, I was like, why is this happening? Like she has powers, like, and I do have one more thing I definitely want to discuss, but not right now. Prem as a villain, he's not like Malekith level bad. He's a little better, but to be honest, like, I was already going in expecting a mid-villain anyway, so it's fine. There was actually one scene in the middle of the film, though, I'd say, with Krem, where I actually was kind of like, whoa, like, they actually included that. I'm not gonna say what it is, but yeah. But here's the thing with what a lot of people are saying, because, of course, people are asking why Gunn would greenlight a script like this. Like, he kept saying that DC Studios was only going to greenlight scripts that were done and good, and I've talked about that on this channel, actually, many times, actually. And so, you know, of course, you're wondering, why would he greenlight this? To me, it's like, I can see James Gunn saying that the script is good, but still needs work, you know? Like, we need to, like, maybe add more, some more scenes, like, you know, or, just fix a couple things. Like, it's one of those things where it's like this film feels like a draft of a script where it's like, it's nearly completed, but it still needs a couple more drafts before it's, like, definitely ready to be released and be made to a movie. Like, that's what this film feels like. It feels like a draft where it's like one of those script drafts where it's not the final draft yet. Some people are theorizing, though, that if when Gunn did greenlight the script and maybe it was longer and it just got cut down in the editing room, like scenes were removed or something like that. I don't know, maybe. Gunn has also even said that he gives the directors a lot of freedom on these films. So like the director Craig Gillespie, Gunn gave him a lot of freedom to do what he wants, to like present his own vision for this movie. So either way, I don't blame Gunn for this whole thing. I feel like there were other things about this. But it does like confuse me on why Gunn would let a writer who's never actually written a feature film before write your second film in your DC universe. I mean, I know like Supergirl, like it only was a second film because it was greenlit first, but still, I'm like, why would you like? Because if that's the case, I write scripts. Dare I say better than this Supergirl film? Where do I apply? Actually, you know what? While Craig Gillespie did do a pretty decent job with this film, you know who would have done an even better job? Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Genuinely. The guys who made the Lego Movie and Spider-Verse. But remember, this very year, they also made that space film with Ryan Gosling. I haven't seen it yet, but that film was very well loved. There was a lot of color in it. I remember people were saying that that Supergirl needed more color in it, so, you know. And Phil Lord and Chris Miller are also very good at balancing like humor scenes with very sad scenes. So maybe Phil Lord and Chris Miller would have actually been a better choice for this, possibly? I will say that the cinematography and the action scenes in the final fight were pretty cool, but it did feel short. Again, it felt rushed. It felt like only 10 minutes, because the final fight in Superman was like, that was a long fight, but it was a really epic fight. And I think Supergirl's fight was also really epic, but it was rushed. It was too short. I think it could have been longer. But here is what truly made me upset. This is probably my biggest con in the whole movie. And this is definitely a spoiler. If you don't want to hear it, just skip to this point right here. So, for the big spoiler, it has to be when Kara killed Krem. I did not like that one bit. Like, genuinely, she's like spent the whole movie telling Ruthie, like, oh, you know, like, don't kill Krem, you know, like, don't go down this path of revenge, like, it'll just make you bitter, you know, like, and she convinces Ruthie not to kill Krem, but then right afterwards, she kills Krem. Like, what is this, Batman, like, this is exactly like Batman Forever, where, you know, because, like, in Batman Forever, Dick, remember, wanted to kill Two-Face, and Batman was telling, like, Dick the exact same thing he was telling Kara, but in the very ending, Batman just kills Two-Face anyway. That's what Kara did. Well, I can let Kara killing Krem slide a little more than Batman, because Kara, you know, like, she's already, like, Gunn already described her as an anti-hero. So, while I can let that go a little more, it still makes me upset. I still don't like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that part, I actually did not like that. They literally could have just left him on the planet. Like, like, there was no one around. And all his other henchmen and goons were dead. Like, they could have just left him there. But even with that, even after that, I still say the ending was very good and felt very rewarding, and thankfully, it even got me more excited for Man of Tomorrow. Like, I genuinely, like, I am so excited to see more of Supergirl. I'm so excited to see her in Man of Tomorrow. I'm so excited that she's just going to be a big part of the DCU overall in the future. So, yes, this film thankfully accomplished that as well, where it got me even more excited to see, like, more of Supergirl. So, yeah, even with its flaws, this film is still definitely better than I thought it would be. It is my most anticipated film of the year, and while it is not as good as Superman, it is still very great to me, at least in my personal opinion, that is. And one YouTuber actually made a point, like, where if this is the worst of the DCU, like, if the DCU can't get any worse than this, then we're in great hands. We're in great hands. And I'm still very excited for Clayface. The Snyder cult can once again shut their mouths. The DCU is not dead. It is still moving forward. I'm still going strong, and honestly, if Supergirl released like maybe 12 years ago, I'm pretty sure it would have made a lot more money. Like, genuinely, I think it would have made a lot more money and maybe even gotten better reviews, actually. So overall, I give Supergirl a total of, this might feel overrated to some people, I give it a 9 out of 10 rating. Genuinely, it's a 9 out of 10 film for me. I think the reason for that is because, you know, of the reviews I was seeing, like, I was going in a lot more cautiously. Like, I was expecting a film to be at the same level of mid, like, Black Adam or Shazam 2 or Wonder Woman 84. I was expecting a film like that, and this film, way better than all three of those films, so, yeah. I do recommend watching this film at some point. If you go in with low expectations, you might hopefully enjoy it more that way. If you ask me, the DCU is still definitely starting off stronger than the MCU did. I mean, like, Superman was better than Iron Man, And if you remember, the second film in the MCU was The Incredible Hulk. And a lot of people actually forget that film even exists. Like, that film was pretty mid for a lot of people. And actually, I also don't really think many people enjoyed the third film in the MCU, which was Iron Man 2. So let me ask you, Snyder Cult or any other hater, were people saying the MCU was already dead when Incredible Hulk came out, or when Iron Man 2 came out? But anyway, that's my review for Supergirl. Let me know what you guys think of the film down below, and let me know if you want me to do any more reviews. If so, the next one will be Spider-Man 4. Thank you all so much for watching. Click this video here, you think this one's the best. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.